New Stephen King adaptation. Is it pretty good? Or is it
Cop kebab!
not so good? K-Dog's movie review. The Long Walk is directed by Francis Lawrence and stars Cooper Hoffman and David Johnson. A group of teenage boys compete in an annual contest known as the Long Walk, where they must maintain a certain walking speed or get shot. All right, brand new Stephen King adaptation for the big screen. And as I alluded to in the intro, Stephen King has just written so many freaking books. There are already so many movie adaptations. And when you have that many adaptations, some are bound to be really good, really not so good, or somewhere in between. And I'm going to cut to the chase here. I thought The Long Walk was a pretty great film. I really enjoyed it. It's a really simple premise. Hunger Games battle royale type competition where a group of young men have to continuously walk until there's only one left. And I thought this movie might do a lot of intro before, like, the home life of their characters and the build up to this big competition. No, they throw you right into it. They tell you the rules and it just begins. And really what's so great about this movie is our focus on our characters and the bond between them. All of the acting here is phenomenal, specifically Cooper Hoffman and Johnson. Johnson, who was also in Alien Romulus, who also was the best part of that movie. The dude has a career. He is a great actor. But the bond that these two characters share is just so well portrayed in this movie. It's definitely a Stephen King adaptation in that regard. Bunch of young dudes swearing at each other constantly, some having good bonds, some really hating each other. You also have, a lot of the stereotypical Stephen King tropes. You have the religious guy, you have the insane asshole who's maybe not a true asshole because of his upbringing, and then everything else in between. The pacing here is also excellent. I thought that we were going to have a lot of cutaways to like the past, explaining our characters' backgrounds and such, but no, we're really just focused on the actual walk itself and the character interactions throughout it. And as I'm saying it, it could sound like it could get stale, but it doesn't because of the great character interactions here and the bonds that are created as these characters are walking for miles and miles and miles. I think this movie is labeled as a thriller, and I think that's accurate. It's definitely not a horror, but it definitely has horrific stuff in it. They do not shy away from the gore when contestants are shot or other things happen to them. It's quite shocking when it happens. That's not to say they, linger on it for too long or anything like that. It's not really the focus of the movie, but it really drives home those stakes of, oh, there can only be one. What I also liked about this too is this setting. We're kind of placed in this dystopian retro future. I think the only technology we see in this movie is like a tiny radio. It looks like something out of the 80s. But what I liked about it was they didn't over-explain. We pretty much get all of the lore in the beginning of the movie. And that's all we need. It's very simple because that's not the focus. The focus is the camaraderie of our characters and the journey. While I really enjoyed this film a lot, it wasn't perfect. I guess if I really want to get nitpicky, the way this film was marketed, they do show in the trailers someone getting shot, showing that the stakes are high with this competition. It's not like just you get out and you get to go home. No, you die if you fail. So there can really only be one. But the way it's presented in the movie is we kind of don't know that until the first contestant is shot. They don't really tell the audience, at least in the movie, that anyone is in grave danger. At least I don't think. So when that first contestant gets out and they are killed, the title drops and it's seen as this, really intense thing, which it is. Someone's getting killed. But at the same time, it's almost like the movie was revealing to the audience at that point, like, hey, characters get shot if they get out, which the trailer already spoiled. I feel like the impact of that first character getting shot would have been a lot greater if I hadn't known that that would be their fate ahead of time. Also, while I know this isn't really the point of the movie, it's not the greatest looking. I mean, it's competently shot. I mean, obviously these characters are walking throughout the entire thing. So, they're constantly bobbing up and down as they move in the center of the screen. But I don't know, even like the cutaways and stuff to where they're walking through, it wasn't the prettiest movie. You know, like I think if you're going to have a movie like this where we're really only seeing one shot of the characters walking the whole time, mix it in with some really great cinematography. It was just kind of bland. And no spoilers, but the ending. At first, I hated it. But as I was driving home, I started thinking more and more about it, and it started to kind of grow on me. So the jury's still out in my mind on how I feel about the ending. So to sum it up, I think The Long Walk is worth your time. The performances are excellent. The characters are great. I loved seeing them interact, which is really the heart of this story. A simple premise that gets going. There's no really filler. There was no point in this movie where I was like, please, let's get through this part. It is predictable, but I didn't care, if that makes sense. I was still invested in these characters and actually found myself getting a little emotional at certain points. And something that's becoming increasingly more important to me as I see so many movies now, time and pacing. It's under 2 hours and it's really well paced. Spoiler section, you've been warned. Okay, so I'm just going to refer to our main character as main guy and his best friend as best friend. Basically, the only thing I wanted to talk about in the spoilers was the ending and how I'm kind of split on it. So this movie is pretty predictable. In the end, you have our main character and the best friend. They're the last two standing. So they walk, and as predicted, the best friend kneels and tries to sacrifice himself so that our main character will win. Best friend says, "Go be with your mom." Main character ends up saying, "No, bro, let's just keep going for a bit." And then main character sacrifices himself instead so that best friend can win. Now, this part I loved because basically the main reason that the main character wants to win is for vengeance and to have a different future. He wants to take revenge on the Major, the main villain of this movie, the guy who killed his dad. He wants to use his one wish to kill the Major. Meanwhile, the best friend sees more of the beauty in life, and he wants to open up some type of homeless shelter for orphans. So I'm sort of paraphrasing, but in the end, our main character says as he's sacrificing himself, "No, man, I don't have that in me. You have all the heart. You have all the peace and love. Go forward and be the person that you want to be. Like, that's not me." And he basically sacrifices himself, which I absolutely loved. Someone recognizing that they don't have the inner peace in them to go on and do good things in the world afterwards. Yes, they're a good person, but so much of their motivation was fueled by vengeance, which the best friend has said is not a good way to live. So main guy knows he's not the one who deserves this. It's the good guy. So this I loved. So the main character dies. He's dead. Best friend is sitting there. The Major's like, "Okay, buddy, everyone's watching. What's your wish?" His wish is basically what the main character's wish was. He wishes for a carbine, basically this big gun, and shoots the Major. And then he walks down this lonely road into a dark, stormy night. And at first I hated it because no, that's not why main character sacrificed himself for you. You know, you're supposed to be the good one. You're supposed to be the one that sees beyond vengeance and sees the peace and love in the world. And you're going to go on to do such great, good things. And to have his character completely torn away with that decision to kill someone was just not sitting well with me. But then the more I thought about it, you know, this is a Stephen King adaptation, and a lot of his books have tragic endings. And you could totally see that with this movie. Best friend, the one who lived and won the challenge, was basically robbed of his humanity and inner peace because he was trying to do something nice for the friend who sacrificed himself. It's tragic because our character has been robbed of that peace and innocence. Even though he was trying to do something in honor of someone who just sacrificed himself, he turned into that vengeful person. Now, the movie just ends there. You know, they talk a bit about how change could come from killing the Major, which it definitely could, but that character has to live on with the fact that he took a gun and killed someone, which is something that earlier in the film he would never have done ever, and was talking about how that could really ruin a person forever. And so in that sense, the tragedy of it and the cycle of violence that's ultimately to continue kind of made me enjoy the ending. So I'm kind of leaning towards enjoying it. Please let me know what you guys thought of this movie in the comments below. Did you like that ending, or did you hate it? Or were you somewhere in between? Till next time.